Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ. And make sure you hit that like button. In this episode, we're going to kind of do a future sim. I want to see how this team is going to do over the next 3 to 5 years or so, just to wrap up this series. I kind of mentioned that the thing about Madden is just that I think it's got a long way to go if it wants to make it a realistic gameplay engine. And here's the thing, I mean, the computer is just not fun to play against sometimes, especially with you can have these fantasy rebuilds and some of these type of unrealistic franchises, but for guys like me who like the realism of it, I like to make realistic moves and do realistic things. It just hasn't been fun this year. I'd say they just keep putting out too many patches and it messes with your slider adjustments and you have to keep adjusting it and you can't get a happy medium and it just gets to be a bit much. So let's hop into this. So it looks like the Baltimore Ravens and the Los Angeles Rams do make the Super Bowl. And you know what's funny is that in real life, that actually could be a legitimate Super Bowl. If you think about it, I mean, the Baltimore Ravens, even with Lamar Jackson at quarterback, he's not really a threat to throw the ball, but they run the ball down your throat. And they have an elite defense, one of the most underrated defenses in the NFL by far. I mean, to me, in my opinion, they have the best defense. I think it's no question. And they are literally shutting everybody down. They are a threat to literally make the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback. And I wouldn't put it past them if they don't. So looking at each round here, the divisional round, we ended up losing to the Packers. And then in the NFC Championship, looks like the Packers lost to the Rams by 3 and Baltimore beat Houston by 4. So it looks like the Rams did defeat the Ravens. Let's look at the stats here to see what everybody did. So Jared Goff goes 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Lamar Jackson goes 0-2. Wow, that's pretty surprising. Let's see what he did rushing the ball, actually. So he didn't really rush the ball. Look at this. I mean, I don't even see him listed here. Alex Collins goes for 69, but Todd Gurley goes for 145 with 26 carries. That's a pretty big game from him. Michael Crabtree leads all receivers with 90 receiving yards, and it looks like Robert Woods had 5 receptions for 42 yards, but 3 touchdowns. What a game from him. So let's look at our re-signing guys going into the first offseason here. The one guy I do want to re-sign, if we look at our top guys here, Jonathan Allen's a free agent, Tress Way, Quentin Dunbar, Ryan Kerrigan, Josh Norman, Zach Brown, Tony Lippett, Trent Williams, and Brandon Sheriff. I do want to sign one of these offensive linemen. I would say actually Brandon Sheriff is the kind of the guy we want to go after here. He's 29. He's younger than Trent Williams, and Trent Williams has been one of the best left tackles in all of football. But let's just try to sign Brandon Sheriff here, and it looks like he's not accepting that offer, so he's going to free agency. But let's just see if Trent Williams, if he re-signs with us, we will not franchise tag Brandon Sheriff. Let's just see if Trent Williams accepts this 3-year deal, $31.3 million. He's been great to the organization, but he's testing out free agency. So I'm going to slap this franchise tag on Brandon Sheriff because I do not want to lose this guy, and he is pretty valuable to this offensive line. So we do slap that tag on him, and let's look at the other guys that can be re-signed. Zach Brown there. You know what? Let's actually move on from Zach Brown. He's kind of older, 31 at middle linebacker, a replaceable position for young guys. Josh Norman's getting older. Let's actually let him go as well. We can maybe get them in free agency anyway. Quentin Dunbar's 29, but the guy I do want to re-sign here, Jonathan Allen's pretty good. I do want to re-sign him on the defensive line because we did lose Matt Ioannidis last year, and that was kind of a mistake as we gave up a lot of yards running the ball. Let's just see if he accepts this 3-year deal. And it looks like he's happy to re-sign with us, so he re-signs as well. And then Fabian Morrow is a guy that I want to re-sign because this guy has been shut down for us. I don't see how he's only 77 overall, and he only wants a 2-year deal at 27 years old now. Let's just see if he accepts this deal. Oh, wow, he's not interested. So that's interesting. So we're going to lose him, and we're going to have to find some cornerbacks in free agency. So this free agent class is crazy. Look at this. Christian McCaffrey, a free agent. Bruh. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with Madden. There is no way that Christian McCaffrey is going to be a free agent within the next, 9 years, I'd say. He's probably going to be with Carolina for a long time. Dominican Sue, Cooper Kupp, Tariq Cohen. And this is another guy I'm talking about. Like, they just need to fix this logic. There's no way that these guys are free agents. Derek Barnett is a free agent. Let's just keep going down the line. Joe Mixon's a free agent. But we already have some pretty good running back depth. We have Darius Geis. We're probably not looking for running back at all. So that sucks, because if we were looking for running back, those would probably be the guys. One guy I look at here is Jabril Peppers, and he's kind of a guy we might want to go after because we did let Josh Norman go at free safety. So maybe he's a guy we do want to look at, but just keep going down the line. I'm just see if there's anybody worth truly going after in free agency. Maybe Vernon Hargreaves. He's a younger guy, 26, so we might want to go after him. So let's offer some of these guys and see what we come up with. So in free agency here in the offseason, we ended up signing a couple of guys. First, we signed Aaron Jones as our backup running back. He is coming over from Green Bay. He has a little bit of wiggle to him. He has good acceleration, and I think he's a pretty good complement to Darius Geis going forward. We did not pick up any other skill position guys on the offense. No receivers we didn't sign. And then the only running back we picked up is Aaron Jones. We did pick up a tight end, Adam Shaheen, from coming over from Chicago. And he's been kind of the lost guy since they did sign Trey Burton. And he's going to be an all right backup to Jordan Reed. And I'm looking to address that in the draft as well. So looking at the left tackle position, this is definitely a position we do want to draft. Come this draft, we didn't really sign anybody on the offensive line in free agency. So that means that Morgan Moses is going to get his shot at left tackle again, more than likely. But looking at left end, we did sign JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, as a backup to Carlos Dunlap. Hopefully those two veterans can make a difference. No other defensive linemen have been signed in free agency, but we did end up signing a couple guys in the secondary, starting with Sidney Jones IV out of Washington. And remember, he did play with the Eagles, and he's only 25 years old. I was surprised to see him hit free agency, so I scooped him up. And then we signed the veteran Jimmy Smith. So we have 381 overall corners here, which is a pretty good secondary, with Quentin Dunbar actually getting re-signed after Fabian Morrow decided not to sign with us. So then looking at free safety, we do have Troy Apke starting right now, and then strong safety we have DJ Swearinger. So let's hop into the draft now. So a lot of these offensive linemen here in the first round, we're only going to show the first round here and then show you the results after, but a lot of these guys in the first round do not have first round grades. So I'm thinking about getting actually probably the best value on the board. I don't know who that is going to be, but it looks like it's a quarterback right now who didn't have a great looks like a great combine. But I like this guy, Drayshawn Way out of Virginia Tech. He looks pretty good to me. Let's look at the other guys here. Sterling Cobbs as well, and then Austin Kramer, a defensive tackle who looks like a beast, to be honest with you. But you know, we do need secondary help. We do need receiver depth a little bit. But you know, one guy I did want to maybe go after was Daryl Parker here in the second round. But you know what? I'm just going to go with best available, not total overall. But I kind of like Drayshawn Way. I want to see what he's going to be. And let's just see what he's going to be when I draft him. Looks like he was first in the 40, first in the broad jump, second in a 3-cone drill, 20-yard shuttle he was second, and bench press he was first. So this guy looks like a beast. So let's go after him and see what he ends up being. So he's only 66 overall, but he probably has a lot of potential. It looks like he has only normal development too. That's kind of disappointing. Thought he would be a little bit better. It looks like he's really fast, really agile, but doesn't really have the true skills. So let's look at the draft results. Timothy Elmore out of Charlotte. We actually got in the second round a halfback, but look at this. He has 97 speed. This guy is going to be a straight burner. And man, it's going to be fun to see him on the field. And then looking at Nigel Reed out of LSU, like I said, we needed some receiver depth, and he actually comes in at 76 overall. He's pretty good right now. 89 speed. Look at the catching, the medium route, the short route, catching traffic. Everything is really solid with this guy. I'm surprised he dropped that low with those ratings. So then looking at the third round, we drafted a middle linebacker. He's all right. It's only 74 speed though. No special development trait yet. Looking at a cornerback here, Raya Dorneville. He's a quick development, so it's nice to see him. And then moving down here, Dominic Courtney was another receiver out of LSU again. and we draft 2 of teammates out of college, and he's the quick development too. So a lot of quick development guys. He's 91 speed. He has pretty good ratings as well. And then we finally did get our tight end at the bottom here, Fred Anderson, and then Grant Pickney to round out our draft class. So not too many superstars here, but I would say we got a pretty good pick here with Nigel Reed. I think that's probably our best pick. And then Elmore, I'm excited to see that 97 speed. So before simming this next season to see how we do, I just want to take a look at some questionable moves here. And this is the logic that I think Madden has to fix a little bit. You know, Patrick Mahomes, when I started this franchise before Patrick Mahomes started coming on the scene strong, so it's understandable that he's a free agent because obviously the game didn't know he was going to be this good. But then he signs with the Chargers. And why is this questionable? Because not only did they get Patrick Mahomes, they got Jacoby Brissett, and they got Justin Herbert. I mean, that makes no sense. You have 3 quarterbacks under the age of 28. That just doesn't happen on a roster. Another questionable move is Mitchell Trubisky was actually a free agent this offseason, and he actually signed with the 49ers, so he's the backup to Jimmy Garoppolo. Madden needs to fix the logic of knowing that they just drafted a quarterback, and they're not going to draft a couple of others. You just look at the Bears, which they have 2 pretty good young quarterbacks, but this wouldn't happen. In the same draft, they drafted 2 quarterbacks, and they both kicked Trubisky off the roster. That just doesn't make any sense. They definitely need to fix that logic. So other free agent moves, Cooper Kupp actually signs with the Denver Broncos, so he moves over there. And then looking at the top receivers in the NFL, D.D. Westbrook is actually a top, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receiver in the game now. So that's interesting that D.D. Westbrook ends up being that good overall. Jarvis Landry still with them. Steelers still have AB, and it looks like there hasn't been too many moves at receiver, but I just want to show you guys that he was a top 6 receiver. That's kind of questionable. I don't know if he's going to be that good. So before simming this next season, I want to look at the schedule really quick. Panthers, Eagles, and Saints to open up, and then it doesn't get any easier as we have a tough middle of the schedule. Eagles, Falcons, Giants, who are probably good now, and Chargers, Raiders, 49ers. I mean, this is going to be a tough schedule. So let's sim pretty much throughout the whole season, maybe half the season right now. So we do end up going 5-11, and we actually end the season on a 5-game losing streak. So we were actually at 5-6 with an opportunity to turn this season around, but it turns out that we weren't able to. The Cowboys win the division at 14-2. Let's just look at the rest of the AFC and the NFC. The Ravens actually clinch the top seed, going 12-4. Looks like they're on their way to maybe another Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield's up there as well with an 11-4 record, and they actually had a tie as well. The Denver Broncos are 10-6, Bengals are 10-5, and then in the NFC, the Falcons are actually one of the top teams still. The Rams are still good, the Bears are good as well, and the Saints are there too. So looking at our stats on the season, you wouldn't think that Jarrett Stidham had a bad year, but we're obviously not winning with him. 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's actually not a bad year. And that's the thing about Madden, is you never see anybody have like a bad year, even in Sims. I mean, that's a pretty good season. There's no way you would be 5-11 after having a season like that. 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That usually equates to a pretty good season. And that's kind of the thing that Madden has to fix. They have to get that kind of medium of, you know, a bad season is a bad season. A 5-11 team isn't going to have a quarterback with 28-10 touchdown interception ratio. That's just not going to happen. So looking at our running backs, it looks like only a couple of running backs got carries. Aaron Jones and Darius Geis, 918 to 392. Let's look at our receiving core. Jamison Crowder goes over 1,000 yards, 79 receptions. 1,100 yards. Paul Richardson goes for 864, 5 touchdowns. Jordan Reed goes for 4. Marquise Hollywood Brown only goes for 487. And then Aaron Jones gets going in the passing game as well, getting 410. Adam Shaheen, the new signed free agent, goes for 66 yards, but not too much there. So let's look at our sack totals here and our tackle totals. Patty Fisher led our team in tackles. I was predicting that probably, since he was taking over for Zach Brown. But this is surprising. Matt Edwards and J.J. Marble only get 4.5 sacks each. I don't think that would happen, especially with the season that they had last year, and they're actually pretty good overall. And look at J.J. Marble. I mean, he's 89 overall at this point, and he is kind of regressing just because his confidence isn't there. but that's more than a 4.5 sack season. Looking at interceptions, looks like Matt Edwards led our team in interceptions. That's kind of surprising. And then none of our top quarters got any interceptions. You can see Quentin Dunbar did, but Jimmy Smith and also Sidney Jones IV did not get any. So that's pretty surprising on the defensive side of the ball. So look at this. In season 4 of this franchise, who would have ever guessed that the Cleveland Browns win the Super Bowl? This is kind of something that I don't know. The Browns are looking pretty good with Baker Mayfield. I don't know if they'll be Super Bowl great, but I mean, they're going to be better. I feel like they're going to be like that. I don't think they're going to be a middle tier team. I think they'll be like just good enough every year to make the playoffs, but I don't know how good they're going to be. I mean, it's hard to project, obviously, with the rookie quarterback, but look at Baker in the Super Bowl. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was beast, and Matt Ryan only threw a touchdown and an interception, but man, what a game that he had. Let me see receiving, because if he had 4 touchdowns, who got him? Anthony Johnson, the second-year pro out of Buffalo, one of the guys from our first draft class, it looks like. He gets 3 touchdowns off of 5 receptions and 51 yards. I mean, how does this keep happening? So last, I highlighted that, I believe it was Robert Woods, had 3 touchdowns off of like 50-something yards as well. And this time, 3 touchdowns off of 51 yards this time. So it's like, I don't know. They just got to fix something with that. I mean, just the whole logic behind everything isn't really up to par. They definitely got to improve that. So let's look into the offseason and see what happens. So the only real re-signing that we're going to have here is Troy Apken. You can see at 27 years old, he is now a star development player. And we're going to give him what he was asking for. But look, he's going to test out free agency. So we're definitely going to go after him in free agency. But matter of fact, I'm going to franchise tag him because I really believe in Troy Apke. He's made a huge difference. And that's saying a lot because guess who's leaving? Jordan Reed is leaving and Brandon Sheriff. They're both leaving. Let's see if we can re-sign Brandon Sheriff this time. He's at 30 years old. Let's just see if we can re-sign him. Give him a higher salary here, $43 million over the next 4 years. Let's just see if he accepts that. And no, it looks like he's testing free agency. So he's sick of this team, to be honest. So let's just see free agents. So here's what I'm talking about with free agents. I just don't understand how Madden does this and how these guys are free agents. Saquon Barkley is a free agent. Bruh. That will never, ever happen. He will retire a New York Giant. Barring some major injury, he will retire a New York Giant. There is no way that that will happen. So let's look at the other guys. Trey Flowers is actually a free agent. That might be a guy we want to go after. J.J. Watt is a free agent. I just do not see that happening at all. Now let's look at the rest of the guys that are free agents here. Chris Harris Jr., one of my favorite corners. I'm a Broncos fan, so he's a free agent. But then let's look at the other guys here. Mike Gesicki, I mean, he's a young guy. There's no way that he's going to be let go. Terrell Edmonds is a free agent. And let's just sim past this, see who we do sign. So in free agency, we only end up signing 4 guys. We re-signed Darius Geis. We could have just swapped and seen what it would have been like to swap Darius Geis and Saquon Barkley. That were the first 2 running backs selected in the NFL draft. That would have been kind of funny to see what it would have been like if Barkley would have came to us. But he does sign somewhere else. I can see where he does sign. Deron Payne, we re-signed. Chris Harris Jr., we re-signed on a 1-year contract. We signed him. And then Dallas Goedert, we actually signed. Over the next 4 years, I kind of thought that would be semi-realistic because if you think about it, it would kind of be a situation where Zach Ertz takes over and he's that guy they pay at tight end and not Dallas Goedert. But looking at Saquon Barkley, this is kind of where I think Le'Veon Bell might sign with the New York Jets. I think it's a huge possibility for them to sign him. But, I mean, watch out for the Colts as well. The Colts might be there, and the Colts are going to be really, really good. They are playing this winner go-home game on Sunday. If Andrew Luck can stay healthy, that's going to be a team to watch out to consistently be the New England Patriots probably after, I'd say, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are probably out of the league. But I would watch out for the Colts as well. Let's look at where the top free agents go. J.J. Watt signs with the Bills, $25 million over 3 years. Kind of surprising there that he would go to the Bills out of all teams. And then Harrison Smith signs with the Chargers, Duke Johnson to the Lions. Other teams, you can see Jordan Reed actually left us. He goes to the Cardinals. I think that's actually kind of really realistic. I could see him going to a team like that, a warm weather team, towards the end of his career. And then Mike Gesicki signs with the Seahawks. So looking at the draft recap, even though we did miss out on JJ Watt in free agency, we do get a pretty good rookie right away at left end. Nate Proctor, he's 24 years old. He is kind of older, but he comes in with 90 strength, 83 pursuit, and he's got some pretty good power moves, 79 with 85 tackling as well. Looking at the second round here, Rashawn Clark, defensive tackle out of FIU. He's only normal development. I don't really see anything great about him. So we do shore up the offensive line here as well. Anthony, I don't even know how to say that name, I don't have no idea. But we do draft another running back. Just kind of weird that we would do that again. We do get a tight end because we did need a tight end this time out of Penn State. This is Devontae Gross, as he's a rookie, 83 speed, 76 catching. Comes in at 72 overall, which is something we did need since Jordan Reed left to Arizona. And then we draft 2 tackles with our last 2 picks. So here's what we do. We end up in season 5 here trading for Mitchell Trubisky. I don't see any reason why the 49ers, even the Bears, would even give him up, and he has so much potential still in his mid-20s. I would take a chance on him any day of the week. So we're going to trade a second-round pick and Tyree Jackson for Mitchell Trubisky, so he will be our starter going into season 5. So let's sim this season and see how he does. So this Redskins team just cannot get right without the user control. You can see 20 touchdowns and 9 interceptions for Mitchell Trubisky on the year, and 3,200 yards passing. And that is very, very disappointing, because if you look at our record, we are 4-12. We got worse. And I mean, just look at the other teams around us. I mean, it's not like they're rated so much higher than us. I mean, even the Super Bowl winning Browns went 6-9 the following year. But let's just look at the rest of the NFC East and see how they did. The Giants go 10-6. The Cowboys go 9-7. Eagles 8-8. And then we go 4-12. So 2 consecutive years of mediocrity for this Redskins team. So let's make some big moves here in this offseason and see what we can do. So I think we may have broke the game here. We did sim to the Super Bowl. The Falcons end up defeating the Jaguars, but let's look at the stats. And this is where I'm talking about we broke the game, is that, look, they have all of these quarterbacks for Jacksonville, but no quarterbacks for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it's definitely a bug in the game. Devontae Freeman runs for 76. Tevin Coleman runs for 39. Julio Jones only gets 5 receptions, 52 yards, a touchdown. And for the third straight Super Bowl, not anybody that goes for like 70 yards or has a big game receiving at the receiver position. You can see the Falcons here, they don't really do anything there, but D.D. Westbrook goes for 87 yards off of 6 receptions, and he gets touchdowns as well. So Safarian Jenkins and Leonard Fournette also get a touchdown as well. But surprisingly, Julio Jones doesn't go off in the Super Bowl. But Blake Bortles is still their quarterback, and we all know how he's doing in real life. He would not be doing this good if this was in real life. So Blake Bortles goes 4 touchdowns and 1 interception, but they end up losing the Super Bowl. So this is the final season I'm going to sim through, but I want to kind of just go after the best players in free agency and see how that affects the outcome of the season. We had 2 losing seasons. I just want to see what the difference will be. Darius Geis ran for 1,000 yards. He was our leading receiver. And then we do have some free agents. That's why they're not listed here. Paul Richardson and Jamison Crowder, both free agents this season. So Nate Proctor, the second-year player now, he actually gets 5.5 sacks during that last season, which is pretty good. Jonathan Allen gets 4.5 as well. And then you can see JJ Marble is missing here because he is a free agent. So we're going to try to re-sign a bunch of great guys and see what that does for our team. So look who's a free agent in this class, Aaron Rodgers. And let's just look at the top quarterbacks here. So Matt Stafford is a free agent, Aaron Rodgers free agent. Definitely signing Aaron Rodgers would not be realistic here, but who knows what's going to happen 5-6 years down the road. I don't know, but look at the Packers are still trying to re-sign him. But I mean, I just want to see, you know, what it would be like to have Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback and see if that would even help us win a Super Bowl. So let's go after Aaron Rodgers. If we don't get him, I'm actually going to try to, we're going to sign him to a 1-year contract. If I don't get him, I'm going to try to go after Matt Stafford, who is listed below there. And let's see how many points we get. 92 points. That's not even close. So maybe we should make an offer for Matt Stafford as well. and see what happens here and see if we can get him, because I do want to see what it's like to have at least a top, I would say Matt Stafford's like a top 15 quarterback, but even to have a top quarterback on the roster and see what that does for us. So we don't end up signing Aaron Rodgers, but we do have a big free agency this year. JJ Marble re-signs with us on a big 5-year contract worth $79 million in totals. Patrick Peterson signs with us. He's 33 at this point, but he does sign with us a 1-year deal worth about $10 million total. Another big signing, Earl Thomas at 34 years old. We bring him in, and hopefully he will make that defense really tough. Xavier Rhodes, another big time corner, comes in, and we have 2 big corner signings as we can try to piece together this defense. I don't know if it's the problem, but we'll see. Paul Richardson signs with us. Trent Brown re-signs with us. And then we sign Matt Stafford to a 1-year deal at 35 years old. He's only getting $15 million. I say only because at that time, I'm pretty sure quarterback money is going to be pretty high. Hassan Riddick signs with us. I like him at left outside linebacker. We do bring back Josh Doxson at age 30. He comes in for a 3-year deal, and we'll see how he does come this next season. And then we have a couple of offensive lineman signings, Jawan James and Laurent Duvernay. So it's going to be an interesting season. Let's just see who we draft now. Okay, so we have a good draft class, as our first 3 picks are all guys that can contribute probably in some facet right away. Randall Henderson is our top pick. He is a quick development, 80 overall guy right now, 93 strength, 82 block shed, 85 power moves. I like him. Perry McCarthy is a middle linebacker out of Tulane, 83 speed at 73 overall. He is normal development, but he can possibly step in kind of a rotational role. And then Reynolds, Antonio Reynolds from TCU. He's a rookie, he's normal development as well, but I do kind of like him, and he's going to be a good rotational piece too. So if there was a year for us to be good, it would be this year. We are ranked 81 overall, 79 on offense, but 87 on defense. As you look at our starting squad here, Earl Thomas at safety, DJ Swearinger's back there, JJ Marble is there, Patty Fisher is still there, Hassan Riddick is starting now, and then on the outside, Patrick Peterson and Sidney Jones, and then Xavier Rhodes in the slot. So let's just see how we're going to do. We're going to sim through half of the season and see how this goes, but this definitely should be our best season, but who knows what Madden will throw at us. With Stafford at quarterback, we should be all right on offense. So here in season 6, we do sit at a better record than before. 4-3, but you know, I was expecting us to have like 2 losses here, but you know, we're still in the race here. Anything could happen towards the end of the season here in the second half. But let's just look at the stats really quick. I'm pretty sure our offense should be doing pretty well. I mean, we have a 90 overall running back in Darius Geis, and now we have Matt Stafford. But let's look at Matt Stafford. He's got 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, isn't that the complete opposite of what Jarrett Stidham was? Even Jarrett Stidham had a better touchdown to interception ratio, and he was rated way lower. I don't know how that happens. I don't know what the logic behind that is. But then looking at Darius Geis, he has 6 touchdowns, 509 yards. Our leading receiver is Paul Richardson again, and Dallas Goedert is actually second, as he has 293 yards, 2 touchdowns. So let's sim the rest of the season and see how it ends up. So when you look at the year our division had, no team lost less than 6 games, lost more than 6 games, and we went 10-6 to finish the season. That's a pretty good way to end the season, as while the Eagles actually missed the playoffs, going 9-6-1, as they had a tie in there, but we made the playoffs. So here in season 6, we make the playoffs, and it feels pretty good. I mean, that's okay. Now we know having a really good defense will propel you to have a pretty good year. Let's just look at the stats really quick on the season. Let's just see how our players did end up. So Matt Stafford threw 22-9. So he went the rest of the way throwing only 2 interceptions, and that's probably what did it. That he stopped turning the ball over, only 2 interceptions through the last 8 games, 3,500 yards as well. Darius Geis runs for 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, and George Harmon, the backup running back, he runs for 379 as well. You know, one thing I don't like about, you know, the simming here that I noticed with running backs is that there's always more than 2 running backs to get the ball in a season. I mean, that's just how it goes. And for some reason, Madden only does 2. So looking at our leading receivers, Dallas Goedert leads us in receptions, 764 yards and 7 touchdowns. Paul Richardson goes over 1,000, and Marquise Hollywood Brown goes for 681. It's surprising that he hasn't really taken off as well. He's at 78 overall right now, and I mean, he's got pretty good ratings at 94 speed. You would think that he would have a lot of deep ball touchdowns, especially in sim, but that's not the way how it worked out. So let's sim this wild card game. Let's see who we're actually going up against first and see how that shapes out. But let's look at this. So we facing the Los Angeles Rams. So let's sim this game and see how that works out. So unfortunately, in this wild card game, we do end up losing to the LA Rams by 5, 14-19, as it looks like our offense kind of let us down. And that was the thing that we saw going into the season, that we had 79 overall offense, but we had 87 overall defense. And look, the offense ends up beating us here. So Matt Stafford throws for a touchdown, but it looks like he only had 15 completions to 21 attempts. I'm not sure why we didn't attempt to throw the ball more, as we were completing everything that was thrown. And it looks like Darius Geis actually had a decent game, 8 attempts for 103 yards. I don't know how we lost this game. Was there a fumble in here or something? No fumbles and no turnovers, but we just simply lost the game. I don't really get that logic. But Robert Woods looks like he's been having a pretty good franchise here. 10 receptions, 148 yards. He torched us, and it looks like none of our guys really did anything as far as receiving goes. Looks like Paul Richardson had 3 receptions for 49 yards, but nothing too fancy there. So Earl Thomas actually has the most tackles in the game. Sidney Jones right behind him, and Patty Fisher right behind him. I mean, it looks like on paper, it looks like we may have won this game. But I guess Robert Woods' big game kind of set the difference between the two teams. But hey, I guess we lost. So I just wanted to show you guys what this team would look like in a sim. We did do 3 seasons after this last season, so we got to season 6, and it looks like we missed the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years. And then we signed Matt Stafford, and it looks like we only won a playoff game, or we didn't even make a playoff. We didn't win a playoff game. We just made it. So what do you guys think of this Redskins team? I mean, it'd be kind of funny to keep playing with this a little bit, but I don't know. I just don't know about Madden with its logic and how I do realistic rebuilds. It's just not fun. There's weird free agents each year. You saw that Saquon Barkley was a free agent. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, there's a possibility that down the road he will be a free agent, but you know, just some unrealistic free agents, and it just doesn't make it fun, to be honest. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. The Redskins franchise, I think this might be the end of it, but I want to get another series started. I'm thinking about, you know, College Hoops 2K. I'm thinking about NBA 2K. I really want to explore College Hoops 2K. Nobody is really doing a series on that on YouTube right now, and it would be kind of fun to do something that nobody else is doing. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section, but stay tuned. This channel is going to keep going on with a new series, but I just don't know what it is. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.